What is going on, folks? Welcome back to another edition of the Fightful Wrestling Weekly, brought to you by the fine folks over at Fightful.com. I am Nick. Joining me is Timothy. Tim, how are you doing?
No. Hey, if you look on my birth certificate, it does not say Timothy.
This damn argument again.
I'm just saying.
God.
Legally, not my name.
What's going on?
What a week
in wrestling we've had.
What's going on?
What a week in wrestling we've had, especially for independent wrestling.
Well,
with
yeah.
With All In selling out their 10,000 seat arena, and Sean had some stuff to write about that. So, Tim, what did Sean have to write?
So, regarding All In, Sean writes, I'm told that All In's PR was hoping for something like 7,000 tickets sold on the first day. Obviously.
23 minutes in, they sold all of them.
Yeah, it was like 20 to 30 minutes. Obviously, the quick sale blew everything out of the water. This comes on the heels of New Japan Pro Wrestling's July ticket sales not doing so well after the event was essentially a one-match show. As for the layout of the event, from a media standpoint, I'm told that All In is hoping to have backstage press conferences after each match, much like what New Japan Pro Wrestling does. And I also did hear, I can't remember who he talked with, but Matt Jackson did confirm that they want the show to be roughly around 3 hours long.
That's a decent runtime.
Yeah, because I mean...
3 hours is a long time for a wrestling show.
Yeah, because when you look at it, like a WWE show is typically 3 hours. A Raw is typically 3 hours. Everyone always says NXT's good at 2 to 2.5, like their takeovers.
Yeah,
but
and I mean... You know, one thing I want to talk about for a minute, especially with selling out that 10,000 seat arena, that's impressive. And the one thing that's very, very up in the air, if it's being a 3-hour show, is will it be streamed or televised or put anywhere, like on the Fight app?
Now, I do have some information on that actually just came out today. Cody Rhodes spoke with Bryan Alvarez and Dave Meltzer and said that they're not looking to put it on traditional pay-per-view, but they have talked to people who can stream it for them, but they have no real information on who they're not going to say who they've talked with or what their possibilities are, but they have talked with people that they're interested and could stream the event.
Now, I just want to let this be known now. Hey, Cody, Bucks, Skrull, Hangman, all you fellas, we at Pro Wrestling Limited would be more than happy streaming All In.
Yeah, okay.
On our platform.
Sure.
We'll stream it. Why not? We'll do it.
Sure.
We'll do it for free. Hell. We'll do it for free. But yeah, I'm thoroughly interested to see where that goes and if it's going to be streamed, and I'm very, very hyped for the guys.
I don't see why they wouldn't stream it, even if they put it on like the Fight app and charge $15 for it.
$15 is not a bad price.
No, because Ring of Honor is usually $30 on the Fight app.
Hopefully this one works compared to Ring of Honor streaming service.
No, that was on their Honor Club thing, and I heard this last weekend when they did the War of the Worlds tour, it was fine on the Honor Club app. It was just that initial run of shows that they did over Mania weekend.
Hot on the tails of All In, two members of All In, Tessa Blanchard and Hangman Adam Page, did interviews with Fightful, so we're going to send you over to there right now. Enjoy, guys.
You know, Tessa, you brought up the women, and it seems like we've been going through a renaissance with the women's wrestling in the last few years. And what do you're a third-generation talent. What does it mean to you, the fact that finally women have seemed to started to break through in wrestling?
For me, I think... So when I started out in wrestling, I didn't tell my family about it, and it was kind of like wrestling is what got me like to connect with my family again, kind of. And I believe mindset is everything. If you can change your mindset about something, you can get through any circumstance, any situation, you can pull yourself through. So I pride myself on my mental strength. And with women's wrestling, I think that we're headed in such an awesome direction. Like, it's such a good time for women's wrestling. And for me, when I went through hard times early on in life, even before I started wrestling, I think I could have benefited from having someone I could look up to or look at them and say, hey, they've been through something, and because they could make it, maybe I can too. So for me, I always, no matter what I did, wanted to inspire someone or motivate someone, or maybe even the next generation. It just so happens that God gave me wrestling to hopefully do that for someone. It just so happens that that's my path, and I think it's kind of a cool thing. I don't know really where I'm going with this kind of, but that's what I want to do with wrestling. Brooklyn, I feel like they got so far they've got a really good group of girls, some of the best in the world. I've shared the ring with all the ones that are announced so far. I've shared the ring with them. Some of the most hard-hitting women. They've traveled all over the world. You know, they've held titles all over the world, won tournaments all over the world. They're some really freaking talented women, and I'm just really, really excited to make history with them.
What does your dad think of something like this? You know, Dad's got to be, what does he think of everything that's going on with this? Considering back in his day, it was really Mid-Atlantic, the NWA, WWE, and what does he think of?
Sure. Well, wrestling's not what it was. Wrestling evolves just like people evolve, and my dad's very supportive. He's very stern, very critical, very detail-oriented, which honestly, it's a blessing. Like, that's what makes you the best, you know, picking apart every little detail. And that's what my dad does with me. He's very, very supportive, but he pushes me, and he expects a lot from me. He doesn't take it easy on me, but he lets me know that he's proud of me.
No, I'll ask both of you guys this. If Cody doesn't respond to that tweet from Dave Meltzer, do you, talking about filling a 10,000 seat arena, are we sitting here having a press conference? Tickets going to be going on sale very shortly here. Are we having this conversation?
Yeah, we are. You know, I think without that, it didn't matter. These guys, I've never met people in my life like Matt and Nick and Cody. I've never met people so driven. And they have done so much in wrestling. And this is just one of those, I don't want to say final things to do in wrestling, but this is the next thing, I think. They've got such a following and you know, such support that I think this would have happened either way.
And if you guys did enjoy that, you can head over to Fightful.com for the full interview. Now, we have a certain big man who is 7 feet tall, and I believe you can teach that with getting sleep.
Whoa, are you allowed to say that anymore?
Oh, shoot, you're right.
I mean, he is a free man, though.
He is
so
a
maybe
man.
You can.
He is 7 feet tall, and I'm pretty sure you can't teach that, but you can help that ability with drinking your milk and eating your vitamins, kids, and getting plenty of... Don't do what I do. Don't go to sleep at 2 in the morning. Go wake up at 6. Oh, I hate myself for that. But Sean did have a little bit to write about Big Cass. Let's see what Sean had to write.
So a story came out last week. Just let me set the stage for everybody. A story came out last week via Pro Wrestling Sheet that Big Cass got himself in a little bit of hot water backstage because he asked to elaborate and do more in his segment with the little person, and everybody, including Vince, told him no. You do the big boot, you're done.
Yeah.
But Cass, even though he was told no, thought, I'm going to do it anyway. So here's what Sean wrote. To expand on the heat with Big Cass, first reported by Pro Wrestling Sheet, I was told Vince McMahon wasn't the only frustrated with Cass's behavior in going off script. Especially, some were concerned about the safety of the little person Cass was working with as he wasn't clued in. Regardless of what fans think, WWE thinks of Daniel Bryan. It was communicated that Cass was being given a very special position as being Bryan's first feud after his extended retirement. And WWE wanted to put together a situation that would help both guys get out.
Right.
Originally, Daniel Bryan was supposed to interrupt the segment, but when WWE saw that his chest was too heavily bruised from the Greatest Royal Rumble, they decided to hold off and not have him go out there, and that's when they rewrote the script, and then Cass went off script and improvised.
Now, you hear a lot of time, like you hear this all the time with former WWE guys or guys that were either there for a very long time, guys like Chris Jericho, guys who weren't there very long. They always say like, hey, who was it that told Pete Dunne Triple H said make a name for yourself.
Right.
Pete Dunne. Now, there's a difference between making a name for yourself and when Vince McMahon tells you no, you go against that, because that's like going up against a cinder block with the letters VKM carved into it by a literal katana. You just don't tell that guy no. You don't go against his wishes. And Cass has a huge burden on his shoulders trying to break out of that position of Enzo's partner, because you've got the we want Enzo, bring back Enzo, the Enzo Amore chants, which are really annoying and really stupid, especially when they're directed at Big Cass, because you know gosh darn well that Big Cass doesn't deserve that, and he understands that he's going to get that, but I don't think he understands the magnitude in which he's going to get it. So he's going to go out there and he's going to try to make a different name, rebrand himself as a big bad guy. I'm 7 foot tall, don't mess with me. and he's going to go off script. But I think he should have waited until he was a little bit more established being back, not just his first feud since being back, especially with the most over man on the planet. It was kind of a bonehead mistake, but I appreciate where he was coming from with making the mistake. He had extremely good intentions by just trying to make himself his own. And it backfired on him, which sucks because that's what happens a lot of the times. And you see it a lot of the times. I'm going to give you another example of a guy trying to make it for himself, trying to get big on his own, and he got big on his own, and then he got shot down for it. Do you know who that is? It's Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder had the YouTube channel. He got super over. The crowd was going crazy for him. And then the Embrace the Hate storyline happened.
Oh, Lord.
Embrace the Hate story. Remember that one, kids? I bet you're young enough to remember the Embrace the Hate storyline with Kane, John Cena, Eve Torres was involved, and Zack Ryder.
She kicked him in the balls at WrestleMania.
Exactly. And I feel bad for Cass. The dude's such a hard worker.
And I mean, you can see that they're not happy with this because how often in the middle of a feud like this does the baby face in a random segment on TV get the best of the heel and like just make him look like the biggest goob like Daniel Bryan did when he interrupted the Renee Young interview?
It doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
And he's going to look like a goob again next week when he loses his Money in the Bank qualifier to Samoa Joe.
Yeah, he's going to get destroyed by
Joe. They're not going to let him go out there and have a quote-unquote good match with Joe and go back and forth. No, Joe's going to go in there and Joe's going to show him what's what and beat his ass.
Exactly.
Joe's going to be like, you want to go off script? Here's my off script.
Exactly. So that's most likely what he's going to be doing. And to wrap up this week's edition of the Fightful Wrestling Weekly, we're going to send you over to the list and your boy with Sean Ross Sapp and Jimmy Van. Enjoy, folks.
So Monday, I think it was like late morning, I was sitting on my desk. I got a Skype message from you, and your Skype message said, Ronda Rousey's getting a shot at Nia Jax's title at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And I thought, damn. So basically at the NBC Upfronts, which they had on Monday. So if people aren't familiar, the Upfronts is when they present the lineups for the fall season, and they introduce some of the talent and all that. WWE was there. It's for advertisers. WWE was there. They had a little ring set up and all that. And Nia Jax announced that Ronda Rousey's going to get a shot at the Raw Women's title at Money in the Bank on June 17. I've seen some of the negativity online, and people are kind of shitting on it. No, she doesn't deserve it, and all that kind of stuff. I think you and I both understand from the UFC that rankings don't mean shit. Who deserves it doesn't mean shit. It's all about what's going to draw.
Oh, that's going to be part of the draw of my UFC rankings breakdown I'm going to do on Fightful Select from now on.
There you go.
I'm very likely going to shit all over these rankings on a pretty regular basis.
Yes. Now, anybody that's not familiar with UFC, you're not big MMA fans, I just want to touch upon this. So they have a ranking system in every weight class. They'll have their champion and they have their top 10. And yet, even though they do that, they continuously go against that by creating matchups that make no sense in terms of ranking, but they do it because of the money. So, for example, Georges St. Pierre, I think everybody knows who Georges St. Pierre is. He was the welterweight champion forever. He retired for 2 or 3 years. His first fight back was a shot at the middleweight title, which is the next weight class up that he had never fought in. And he got a title shot. And why did he get a title shot? Because they wanted somebody that could be a draw in order to draw a buy rate for that show. And so he got the shot and he won the title. And then what did he do? He forfeited it right after because he didn't give a shit about the title. He wanted the payday.
Well, also maybe he had colitis.
Yeah, but he didn't. He was never going to fight again.
Maybe he didn't shit for 40 days.
Possible.
That's why he moved up to 185.
Because he had so much shit in him.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think you and I both know, Sean, he was not planning to fight again at middleweight.
Yeah, I didn't think
No intention.
Oh, especially when the opponent is anybody but Michael Bisping.
Exactly. He knew Bisping could be beaten. And then you think of a Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen fights at middleweight against Anderson Silva, loses, then immediately gets a shot at John Jones for the light heavyweight title. One weight class up.
Almost won it, too. If it went to the end of the round, he could have won it via TKO injury because John Jones's toe was hanging out.
So that's the reason that Ronda's getting the shot. Has nothing to do with whether she deserves it. Has nothing to do with whether she's ready. Has nothing to do with rankings. She's getting the shot because she's going to be a draw. And I think,
am I going to be that upset if Nia Jax loses that championship? Hell no, I won't.
I think quick tap out. I think
as I've said it a million times, it should be Fedor versus Hangman Choi, where he's hanging off of the arm, or she hangs off the arm while Nia's still standing up,
right?
And like Ronda's airborne. If I were to make a depth chart on Raw, I'd put Nia at about 7 to 9.
Do you think Nia? Because like even though Nia's big and everything, I've noticed that she's not the strongest. Do you think that she has the strength to hold Ronda up like that?
Oh yeah, I do. Well, here's the thing. I think whether she wants to or not, Ronda can make it happen. You know what I mean?
maybe she's very
that type of thing. I mean,